The movie begins with a calm yet chilling voiceover explaining how humanity tried to stop global warming, but ended up freezing the world instead. In the year 2014, scientists from 79 nations came together to release a chemical agent called CW7 into the Earth's atmosphere. Their goal was simple: to reduce the planet's temperature and save it from climate disaster. But something went terribly wrong. The experiment backfired. Instead of cooling the planet moderately, the CW7 triggered an uncontrollable deep freeze. Temperatures around the globe dropped so drastically that everything, oceans, cities, continents, was buried under layers of ice. The Earth entered a new ice age. Life on the surface perished. Cities became tombs, oceans froze solid, and snow buried the remains of civilization. Humanity was wiped out, almost. Only a few survivors managed to escape the freezing death aboard a massive, self-sustaining train called Snowpiercer. Built by a visionary yet eccentric billionaire named Wilford, the Snowpiercer was designed to circle the globe continuously, powered by a perpetual motion engine that never stopped. This train became humanity's last refuge. It carried the remnants of mankind, endlessly moving around the frozen planet once every year. But even within this moving arc, society's old divisions followed. Class, privilege, and oppression survived the apocalypse. 17 years later, in the year 2031, we find that the train has been running non-stop for nearly 2 decades. The passengers are divided by strict class systems. The front cars are luxurious. The rich enjoy warm food, clean air, and entertainment. The middle cars house workers and essential crew. And at the very tail end of the train live the poor, the unwanted survivors who boarded the train without tickets, known as freeloaders. Their lives are a nightmare. They live cramped in dark, filthy compartments, eating disgusting protein blocks every day, surviving under armed guards and brutal rules. These people have been treated like cattle, and now, after years of suffering, they're ready to fight back. Our story centers around a man named Curtis Everett, played by Chris Evans. He's quiet, focused, and respected among the tail passengers. He doesn't see himself as a hero, but everyone looks up to him as their leader. Curtis's close friend is Edgar, a young and loyal man who believes in him completely. Another important figure among them is Gilliam, the elderly, wise man missing one arm and one leg. Gilliam is the moral compass of the tail section. People see him as a father figure and a mentor. Even though the tail dwellers live in misery, Gilliam keeps them united and gives them hope. Curtis often consults him before making any decision. Every few days, soldiers enter their section to count them, distribute protein bars, and maintain order through fear. The protein bars are their only food, black, jelly-like, tasteless blocks supposedly made of protein. The soldiers treat them with disgust, shouting, beating, and humiliating them. During one such routine, we see an old couple in the tail, both violinists. The guards demand that one of them come forward to play for the front passengers. The husband, Gerald, refuses to go without his wife. But the guards show no mercy. They brutally grab his wife, twist her arm until it breaks, and drag Gerald away by force. The people watch helplessly. It's another reminder of how powerless they are. Later, Curtis notices something unusual. One of the protein bars contains a small metal capsule. Inside it is a rolled-up message. He opens it and finds just one word: revolt. The mysterious message reignites something inside him. He realizes it's time to move. Curtis shares the message with Gilliam, who warns him that past revolts have failed. The guards always crushed them. But Curtis believes this time can be different. He's been watching the guards carefully for years and suspects something. The guards' guns might be empty. The bullets might have run out long ago, after the previous rebellions. If that's true, it could be their only chance. That night, the guards return, accompanied by a stern, cold-faced woman named Minister Mason. She represents the ruling class and is Wilford's spokesperson. The guards line up all the tail passengers and demand that all children step forward for medical inspection. 2 small kids, Timmy and Andy, are taken away by force, despite their mother's desperate cries. One of those mothers, Tanya, begs them to stop, but the guards drag her child away into the front cars. The people scream, but nobody can do anything. Mason delivers a terrifying speech. She holds up a dirty shoe and says, "This shoe belongs on your foot, just as a hat belongs on your head. Each of us has our proper place. I belong to the front, you belong to the tail." Her words reveal the poisonous ideology of class segregation that rules the Snowpiercer. Then, as punishment for earlier defiance, A man named Andrew is dragged forward because he threw a shoe at a guard. Mason orders a horrifying act. The guards push Andrew's arm through a small porthole in the side of the train, exposing it to the outside cold. Within 7 minutes, his arm freezes solid. Then, in front of everyone, they shatter it with a sledgehammer. The crowd gasps in horror. Mason smirks and says, "Order is the barrier that holds back chaos." She leaves, confident that fear will keep them quiet. But Curtis has seen enough. That night, he rallies his people. He tells them they can't live like this anymore. They start preparing for rebellion. Edgar is ready to fight by his side, and Gilliam gives his blessing. They use oil barrels from their section to create a long barricade line they can roll forward as cover. Curtis explains his plan. When the guards arrive to deliver food tomorrow, they'll test his theory about the bullets. If he's right, they'll launch their attack immediately. The next morning, the soldiers enter again with food carts. Curtis keeps his eyes locked on their guns. He signals Edgar to be ready. Suddenly he charges, slamming one of the guards, grabbing his weapon, and pressing it against his own forehead. "Shoot me," Curtis yells. The guard hesitates, then pulls the trigger. Click. No bullet. Curtis was right. The guns are empty. The tail section erupts in chaos. The passengers attack the guards with makeshift weapons, pipes, chains, knives, anything they can find. For the first time in 17 years, the poor fight back. Curtis and Edgar lead them, pushing forward with the line of barrels. Blood spills, but hope rises. They take control of the next compartment, killing or subduing the guards. Victory, the first step toward the front of the train. Among the captured guards, they find the keys to a locked cell. Franco is strong, almost inhuman, but Curtis fights with desperation. Finally, using a sharp metal rod, Curtis stabs Franco through the chest. Franco collapses, gasping, but Curtis knows he'll probably get up again. The man's willpower is monstrous. They move on quickly. Now they're only one door away from the engine, from Wilford himself. Nam kneels to unlock it, but his hands are trembling. Yona senses something. She closes her eyes, focusing, then gasps. "There's someone behind the door," she whispers. Waiting. Before Nam can react, the door slides open on its own. 2 guards step forward, guns raised. They shoot Nam in the leg, and Curtis is forced to surrender. Wilford has been expecting them. Curtis is escorted into the grand engine room. A bright, glowing space filled with polished metal, spinning gears, and the rhythmic sound of the everlasting engine. It's beautiful and terrifying at once. In the middle of it all stands Wilford, an elderly man with calm eyes and a silver beard, dressed in fine clothes. He looks nothing like the monster Curtis imagined. Instead, he smiles warmly, as if greeting an old friend. "Welcome," Wilford says softly. "You're the first person in 17 years to make it all the way here. Congratulations, Mr. Everett." Curtis glares at him, but says nothing. Wilford gestures to a table filled with food, steak, wine, fruits, luxuries Curtis hasn't seen in years. "Please," Wilford says, "eat. You must be starving." Curtis doesn't move. He only stares at the spinning heart of the engine, its constant hum filling the silence. Then Wilford begins to speak, his voice calm and eerily logical. "This engine is eternal. It keeps us alive. The train is the world, and the engine is its heart. Each part of this train has its function, the tail, the workers, the elites. It's balance, Curtis. Order. Without it, everything collapses." Curtis laughs bitterly. "Balance? You call killing children balance?" Wilford sighs and shakes his head. "You don't understand. The train must always have a certain number of people. Too many passengers and resources run out. Too few and the system fails. Revolt is necessary." Curtis frowns. "Necessary?" Wilford nods. "Yes. Every few years, a revolt must happen, controlled, precise, designed to reduce population. Gilliam knew this. He and I planned this revolt together." Curtis's face freezes. "Gilliam," he whispers. Wilford continues. "He was my counterpart. The front and the tail both require leadership. Gilliam helped maintain balance by guiding your people toward rebellion when it was time. You think this was your idea? It was ours." The truth hits Curtis like a punch to the chest. His mentor, the man he trusted most, was part of Wilford's system. Every death, every sacrifice, part of a plan. His hands tremble. Wilford pours himself wine and continues. "The system needs a new leader now. I'm old, Curtis. I want you to take my place." Curtis is stunned. "You want me to be you?" Wilford smiles. "Yes. You've proven your worth. You're strong, decisive, and ruthless when needed. I wanted to cut off my arm to feed others, but I couldn't. Then one day, a man cut off his own arm and handed it to us so we wouldn't eat the babies. That man was Gilliam. Tears well up in Curtis's eyes. He saved us from ourselves. That's the man you used. Wilford watches quietly. See? Even he played his role perfectly. Then Wilford presses a button, and a small screen appears, showing live footage from the tail section. Guards are executing prisoners, 74% of the poor, as Wilford had ordered earlier. Their screams echo through the speaker. Curtis stares at the monitor in horror. "Stop it," he yells. Wilford replies coldly, "It's necessary. The train must maintain balance." Meanwhile, outside the door, Nam and Yona are still alive. Yona drags her father up and starts gathering all the chronol he'd hidden. The air reeks of the chemical, and the pile grows large near the outer door. Nam whispers weakly, "The outside is changing, Yona. You have to see it." He points out the window. Snow drifts gently instead of raging storms. The world looks calmer, almost alive again. Back inside the engine room, Wilford calmly shows Curtis the machine that powers the train. It's a marvel, an eternal engine turning endlessly, surrounded by moving pistons and gears. But below it, Curtis sees something horrifying. Inside a small compartment, a child, Timmy, is working, replacing broken parts with his tiny hands. The gears are huge, the space cramped, and the boy's face is covered in grease. Curtis stares in disbelief. What is he doing there? Wilford answers coldly, "Sometimes parts wear out. We need replacements. Unfortunately, we no longer have the machinery to make new ones. So we use what we have. Small children fit perfectly." Curtis's entire body shakes with rage. He remembers Tanya's plea. "Find my son." Now he sees the truth. The system doesn't just exploit the poor, it literally uses their children as machine parts. Wilford walks behind him and places a hand on his shoulder. "This is the truth of the world, Curtis. Balance requires sacrifice. Take my place. Keep the engine running." Curtis looks at Timmy, trapped and suffering, and everything inside him breaks. His entire journey, every friend lost, every death, led to this moment. He realizes that nothing will ever change if the train keeps running. The world will always remain divided, spinning endlessly on the same track. At that moment, Yona bursts in, screaming. She rushes toward the side door, lighting a match. Wilford yells, "Stop her!" Curtis blocks him. He punches Wilford in the face, sending him sprawling to the floor. Snow drifts quietly around the wreckage. Slowly, from the ruins of the train, a hand pushes through. It's Yona. She crawls out of the snow, battered but alive. Beside her, little Timmy emerges too, holding her hand. The two survivors stand together, looking out at the frozen landscape. In the distance, something moves, a polar bear walking across the snow. Its white fur glistens under the pale sunlight. Yona stares at it, realizing what it means. Life still exists. The earth is healing. The ice is melting. Humanity may have another chance, not inside a train, but out here in the real world. The camera pans up slowly, showing the vast, endless white wilderness, and the two small figures standing together, the first humans to step outside in nearly 2 decades. The sound of the wind mixes with the soft growl of the polar bear as the screen fades to black. And that's how Snowpiercer ends, not with the triumph of a system, but with the rebirth of hope. The train, once the symbol of human greed and hierarchy, becomes a grave. The survivors, Yona and Timmy, represent a new beginning, a chance to rebuild a world free of the chains that destroyed the old one.